5,000 square feet for a closet. What is she putting in there? Live elephants? A backup husband.
We're starting with the closet? Not the questionable consent implications of renovating someone's house without asking? Not the sheer narrative laziness of solving every conflict with a private jet? The closet?
Hey, a man's gotta have priorities. And my priority is figuring out if that closet has its own zip code. Welcome back to Heartbook Radio, folks. The only book show that knows what really matters.
We're attempting to discuss Wildest Dreams by Kristen Proby, a novel apparently written on the back of a billionaire's platinum credit card statement.
Platinum. Triunobtainium, this Ryan Wild fella, billionaire cowboy, already sounds like a fever dream I had after too much gas station sushi moves back to Montana and basically decides his love language is hostile financial takeover.
That's surprisingly astute. The central tension, if one can call it, that revolves around Ryan's almost pathologically excessive spending and the harrowing, Polly's repetitive, frankly tedious discomfort with it. It's less romance, more transactional analysis with spurs.
Tedious. The man supposedly got ANAWN2UR kicked out of her Paris hotel suite for Polly. That's not tedious. That's baller. That's like when I tried to get us upgraded seats by telling the airline you were a Nobel laureate.
And we ended up in seats next to the lavatory, much like my experience reading Polly's inner monologues. Which, incidentally, reminds me of your equally baseless arguments about Edward Cullen being a misunderstood feminist icon. Some delusions never die.
Edward was sensitive, unlike this Ryan character. Okay, maybe he's a little controlling. Renovating her house while she's out, buying her businesses. That's less golden retriever green flag like the 5-star reviews say, and more stalker with a bottomless bank account. My neighbour Brenda's ex did something similar. Replaced her garden gnomes with gargoyles. Creepy.
While I hesitate to draw parallels between Ryan Wild and Brenda's gnome, averse ex, the psychological profile is troubling. Is it generosity, or is it a desperate need to exert control through financial dominance? He essentially buys his way through every obstacle. Polly feels awkward. Buy her a boutique. She ghosts him after a hookup. Fly her to Paris. There's a flimsy suspense plot. Probably hires Mercenary Z. I wouldn't be surprised.
Ghosted him. Okay, let's talk about Polly. She hooks up with him in the prologue. Apparently the spice was spicing, according to one breathless reviewer who probably needs a cold shower.
A reviewer who also lost count how many times they did it. One assumes basic numeracy isn't a prerequisite for enjoying this genre.
Exactly. So they have this hot hookup, and then she vanishes for a week because, get this, her phone was broken, and she, a business owner, was too busy to get a new one. A week. I once lost my phone for 3 hours and nearly had a panic attack thinking I'd missed a pizza coupon.
The broken phone excuse is perhaps the most egregious piss plot hole. It's utterly nonsensical, designed purely to create manufactured angst, and her constant refrain of, "Oh no, Ryan, you spent too much," wears thin by chapter 3. One reviewer just wrote, "Girl, stop." And frankly, I concur, it's not relatable insecurity, it's narrative padding.
Ungrateful. That's what it is. Reminds me of my second ex, Gloria. I bought her this amazing cubic zirconia necklace, practically indistinguishable from the real thing. And she complained it wasn't her birthstone. Some people just can't appreciate a grand gesture, even if it involves potentially bankrupting a small South American nation for flowers, like Ryan probably did.
Let's not forget the adopted son, Jake, universally lauded the emotional core, the one element reviewers seem to agree on. His bonding moments with Ryan, like Jake calling him Dad, are genuinely touching.
Yeah, the kid was all right. Made me tear up a bit, not gonna lie. Almost makes you forget his new dad is building closets bigger than most starter homes. It's like sticking a single perfect strawberry on top of a giant, lopsided cake made of $100 bills.
An apt, if slightly nauseating, metaphor, which brings us to the crucial question. Beyond the admittedly effective tear-jerking subplot and the copious amounts of spice, is Wildest Dreams actually any good?
Good. It's ridiculous. That's what makes it fun. One reviewer just typed up. They loved the money fantasy, Another one said, quote, way too much emphasis on Ryan's wealth. I'm rich, I'm filthy rich. Blah, blah, blah. You got Team Fairy Tale and Team Get a Grip.
The dichotomy is fascinating. In a sociological sense, does it reflect a societal yearning for escape through obscene wealth, or a rejection of such unrealistic portrayals? We received a listener email.
Brenda from Boys writes, love the show. My question, if Ryan Wilde were a sandwich, what kind would he be? I'm thinking a gold leaf covered wedgie burger that costs $1,000 but is served slightly cold.
I refuse to engage with that. Another listener, let's call her Sensible Susan, asks, isn't Polly's reaction less about ingratitude and more about the inherent power imbalance created by such extreme wealth disparity? And wasn't the suspense plot just there?
Power imbalance? Who cares? He bought her a 5,000 square foot closet. And the suspense... Yeah, it was kind of tacked on, like pineapple on pizza. Some people love it. Most people wonder why it's there. But it gave Ryan a chance to be protective, probably by buying her a panic room the size of Delaware.
The sheer excess is the point, and the problem? It overshadows character development, plot coherence, and any semblance of realism. The Anna Wintour anecdote alone stretches credulity to the breaking point. It's not charming, it's absurd.
But absurdity sells. People read this stuff to escape reality, not to get a lecture on income inequality. They want the cowboy, the cash, and the closet.
And apparently endless, repetitive descriptions of intercourse.
All right, time to rate this beast. Our patented Heartbook radio scale. What are we feeling today? Number of unnecessary renovations out of 5.
Let's rate it on the credibility scale, ranging from documentary realism to talking raccoon sidekick. I give Wildest Dreams a solid my phone was broken for a week, so I couldn't call the billionaire I just slept with a 2 out of 10, points awarded solely for Jake.
Harsh. See, I get the fantasy. I give it 8 out of 10 square feet in a closet you don't need. It's dumb as over. The top, Polly needs to chill. But damn if I wasn't thinking about what I'd put in that closet. Maybe a bowling alley.
Of course you were.
That's all the time we have next week. We're tackling, Gregor the Sentient Doorknob Finds Love. Sounds riveting.
I need a drink or possibly therapy.
Until then, keep those pages turning, or at least complaining about them.